I've always been interested in the past, and particularly in what art can do to bring that past to life for us. At their best, artists are both the initiators of a culture and its caretakers as well. And at its best, art can inform us into ways of living a life of value and of purpose, of meaningfulness, a sense of direction. When art functions well, it can give us some insight into the meaning of how to live a good life. In order to begin my investigation into this aspect of art and its connection with the sacred, I've come to the formative culture of Western civilization. I've come here, to Greece. Sometimes walking through ancient sites, to be honest, can be looking at a jumble of stones. White stones, dark stones, high stones, low stones. But sometimes your blood really gets going. And that happens particularly in areas like this. See this archway? This is the arch of a tunnel that led from the sanctuary of Zeus into one of the most dramatic spaces anywhere in the ancient world. One of the most dramatic spaces anywhere in the modern world as well. Imagine yourself as an athlete 2,000 years ago or more, walking in through this space, along with people who had been training just like you, people with the same ability as you, people wearing as much clothing as you, which was absolutely no clothing at all. Athletes competed in this stadium in the nude, their bodies glistening with olive oil, walking towards the blocks on this track, standing in this space where I'm standing right now, surrounded by anywhere between 40 and 50,000 people cheering them on as they were about to run the race of their lives. What a rare thrill it is to touch the past this closely, to feel this sense of connection with things that are so ancient. Column drums just litter the landscape here at Epidaurus. It's so open and accessible. You know, there's some places where mythology becomes reality, and this is one of those. Not only am I sitting in the middle of a river, but I'm sitting in the middle of a river whose source is back there at the top of Mount Olympus. I'm seated next to a column drum. A score of these drums composed a column here at the Temple of Zeus at Olympia. There were originally 6 of these columns along the front of the building and 6 along the back. They supported pediments as triangular areas at the very, very top of the temple itself. And here at Olympia, those pediments contain some of the richest sculpture of antiquity. These awesome figures from the west pediment of the Temple of Zeus at Olympia tell a story familiar to the ancient Greeks. Invited to a wedding feast by their Greek neighbors, the Lapiths, centaurs, mythical beings half human, half animal, fall prey to the temptations of too much good wine and quickly become wild and beastly. They chase and assault and molest the Lapith women, and they even try to steal away the bride. An all-out war results between civility on the one side and the barbaric on the other, and it is this intense and heated battle that flows back and forth across the pediment. when in the midst of the struggle we see the stern yet calming figure of Apollo, the god of reason, the god of prophecy, emerging above the fighting, we know who the victors will be. It is the will of the gods that determines such things as victory and defeat, and it is the will of Apollo that civilization will triumph over barbarism. On a hot day in Athens, and it's always a hot day in Athens it would seem, you want to find a little bit of shade, and here in the Agora you can find it in several places. Sometimes when you're fortunate enough, you can find it, well, in places where there are plants like this. Plants that give you some insight into the art that you find all around you. This is an acanthus plant, and it's the basis, the core, for the Corinthian capital. Look at the way in which this plant vibrates out of the earth. There's a real sense of energy about it, a real sense of, well, a fullness, of strength, vitality. And that's the essence of the Corinthian capital. Sometimes, well, you can see if you wander far enough into the Agora, the basis for the art that surrounds you everywhere you look. Now, you remember the acanthus leaves that we were looking at before? Well, here they are, on the Corinthian capital. Look at the way they spring right out of the capital itself. Energy, spirit, animation, all of it represented here in stone. Nature come to life in the capital. Now this is a stoa. It's the stoa of Attalus I, built in about the 2nd century BC. Attalus was a king of Western Asia Minor, king of Pergamon, one of the Hellenistic kingdoms, and in order to prove his Greekness, he built this structure as a gift for the city of Athens. Really grand and imposing it is. It was a marketplace back in the ancient past for some of the wealthiest stores in the city, like Prada would be today, for example, or Gucci. But the feature of this stoa is the fact that it fronted out onto one of the most venerable routes of the city, the Pan-Athenaic Way. Many of the stones of the Pan-Athenaic Way are still in place. These were trod upon by Athenians 2,000 years ago or more. What began in the Keramikos, in the cemetery, in the land of the dead, has now just left the Agora, the land of this world, the land of the living, the land of, well, civic authority. And now we're about to enter into a different world altogether, and that is the world of the gods, as we move up the Pan-Athenaic Way to the Acropolis.